All right, here we go. NFC South. We're going to get these wrapped up here. Let's take a look. The top two slots are obvious. The bottom two slots are obvious as well. But let's take a look at the lineups in the NFC South. The obvious number one is the Saints. And as you can see here, take a look. Drew Brees, still there. Alvin Kamara, still there. Latavius Murray, much of the same here. Michael Thomas, Ted Ginn, Traquan Smith. Same receivers. They added Jared Cook. It just gets better for this team. They've actually upgraded. So no reason to think the Saints can't do exactly what they did before. And they will. Carolina Panthers, more than likely the number two. Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey, all that's still going on. They're high on their receivers, man. They think that DJ Moore, they added Chris Hogan, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, Greg Olsen back. You know, they've got a good lineup here. They've got a good lineup here. But they're one of those teams that's kind of hard to totally figure out. And then you have the Atlanta Falcons, one of the most disappointing teams in the league. They still got Matt Ryan, Devontae Freeman, Ito Smith. They lost Tevin Coleman. Now they can kind of narrow it down to just two backs. Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Sanu, same thing. Austin Hooper, same Falcons. Same Falcons. And then the final team, who I thought would be surprising with Bruce Arians coming aboard. Jameis Winston, this is your turnaround year, buddy. It happens now or never. Dual-headed running backs can't really decide who they want number one. Neither have performed, obviously, to steal that spot. They got Mike Evans. After that, they are weak at receiver, but they are very strong at tight end. So you have O.J. Howard and Mike Evans. And if one of those guys don't have a game, that they're going to lose. So that's where Tampa stands. And let's go now to the schedules, and we'll see why and how this is going to shake down. And let's start with New Orleans and why New Orleans is going to be in first place in the NFC South. All right, here we go. So we got the Saints schedule up. Let's start marking those off. All right. I have them winning in their first game, Houston home game. This is good. They got to play that NFC West here, obviously. Look at them throwing them. Look at this schedule, man. Look at this fucking start. Houston, Rams, Seattle, Dallas. Boy, Saints' first month is fun, isn't it? Holy shit. Well, they're going to win that Houston game. I'm going to give the Rams that home game because the Rams are good. I'll say they're going to beat Seattle there. And then the home game versus Dallas, I'm going to give that a 50-50. How about that? Tampa's a win. Jacksonville's a win. At Chicago, I'm going to mark that as a loss, if you can believe that. Got to be fair here. Arizona is a win. What a tough start. Atlanta's a win. At Tampa's a win. Carolina, I'm going to have them split with Carolina to be fair. So Carolina at home is a win. At Atlanta is a win. This team's going to win a lot of games. San Francisco is a win. The Colts is a win. It gets real easy on the back end. At Tennessee, I'll even make that a 50-50 to be fair. And then at Carolina is a loss. Before the two split skis, I have this team at 11-3. Once they get out of that bye, it's a lot of clear sailing. So with two split skis, let's say that I'm going to say they go 12-4. 12-4. How about that? That's as good as anyone in football. Their schedule allows for it. Let's go Carolina. Now, everybody had them losing to the Rams. I did as well, so don't be surprised there. So we have Carolina. That was going to be a loss. Tampa home, win. Arizona, win. At Houston, loss. Jacksonville, win. At Tampa, I'm giving that as a win. That may have been a 50-50. At Frisco, win. Tennessee home game, I'm going to call that a 50-50. At Green Bay, we'll call that a loss. Home game Atlanta, we'll call that a win. At New Orleans, we will call that a loss. Washington home game, I'm going to call that a win. At Atlanta, I'm going to even call that a 50-50. Home game versus Seattle, I'm going to put that in 50-50. At Indy, I'm going to call, that's even a 50-50. Let's give that a split ski. And then a New Orleans home game, I'm going to say that's a loss. Sorry. But the Panthers still, before their splits, I have them going 7-5. If you split those up, 9-7. That's tough on them. That's pretty tough. They could go 10-6. I'm going to put them in that maybe. I just think they're better than 9-7, but I could be wrong. All right. Atlanta Falcons and Tampa. Let's see who's going to be worse out of these two. Let's take a look at this schedule here. Everybody had them losing to Minnesota. Everybody. So that's one. Philly, I put that as a loss even at home. At the Colts, I'm going to make that a 50-50. I don't think that's a definite win. At Tennessee, I'm going to give them that as a first home win, and that's being generous. That should be a 50-50 as well. At Houston, loss. At Arizona, I'm going to give them that win. At home game against the Rams, loss. Home game Seattle, loss. Oh, geez. And then after the bye, here's a thank you. New Orleans, road game, loss. Carolina, road game, loss. Home game Tampa, give them the win. Home game New Orleans, loss. I don't think they'll win either of those two. Home game Carolina, I'll give them a split on that. At Frisco, I'm even going to give them that win, which is probably, they got to win some games. Jacksonville, at home, I'll give them that win. And then at Tampa, I'll also make a 50-50. This is bad. So before the 50-50s, I have them at 5-8. So if you split the 3 and give them the benefit of the doubt, if you don't give them the benefit of the doubt, they're 6-10. If you give them the benefit of the doubt, they're 7-9. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt on the splits because they have Matt Ryan, and that might not mean much anymore. I always tell people, when do they give up on the Matt Ryan thing? What happens here? You just keep riding this team out to mediocrity, I guess, with Matt Ryan. It's kind of sad. He's a great guy, good guy, but that is not. They're never competitive anymore. They're never competitive. All right. Let's see Tampa. Okay. I had Tampa winning this game. This was a home game. For some reason, people liked Frisco winning because they were only a -1, but I liked Tampa in this game. So I would have marked that as a win. So we're just trying to be accurate here. At Carolina, loss. Giant game at home. I'm going to call it a 50-50. Rams game, loss. Saints, loss. Carolina at home, 50-50. I'm not big on it. At Tennessee, I think that's a loss. At Seattle, this is a tough schedule here. Right out of the bye, 2 losses for sure. Home game versus Arizona, give them the win. New Orleans, loss. At Atlanta, loss. At Jacksonville, I'm going to give them a 50-50. Colts at home, I think that even that is a loss, but I'm going to give that a 50-50. In Detroit, there's a lot of 50-50s here for this team. I only have them with 2 wins up to this point, by the way, folks. Here's another one, 50-50. Houston game, loss. And then Atlanta at home. That's another 50-50. I have them before this is the most 50-50s I have for any team in doing this so far. I have them at 2-8 before the 50-50s. Yeah. If you split their 6 up, that's 3 going each way. That's 5-11. Here you go. Before the 2008. So we got the Saints at 12-4. Let's take a look at what they were last year. Let's see how close they were to these predictions here from last year. Okay. What do you know? 13-3. We have them at 12-4. Pretty damn good. Falcons 7-9 last year. Guess what do we have them at? 7-9. Panthers were 7-9 this year as a disappointment. We have them at 9-7. But they were 7-9. Pretty disappointing. And wouldn't you know, Tampa Bay, I had them 5-11. Guess what they were last year? 5-11. What? It's not that hard. And there is your NFC South. We'll wrap it up and we'll get to that NFC West next.